Go ahead,
Hare
please.
Krishna. Thank you very much for your association. And yeah, I was just thinking today that, sometimes it's better to work with the so-called karmis than with the so-called devotees, who are associated with ISKCON, just regarding your comment, Krishna Kata Prabhu. That was just a thought that I was having today, Unfortunately, we're in such a situation now where the people who are outside of ISKCON, they are oftentimes more common sense, more honest, and they're getting stuff done, Otherwise, all the corporations and all this stuff would collapse, just like the preaching has done. But we just got to deal with it. That's all we can do. And today I was talking with your godbrother, Ratha Yatra Prabhu from Bangalore, about the book printing of the daily Bhagavatam, and he had some doubts. So he was saying, is it really correct to print the 62 edition, I think? Or is it better to print the new edition? So I was telling him it's bona fide as long as you put the title, which edition it is on it, because as we learned from Garuda Prabhu, the BBTI is dishonest. They just put Prabhupada, but it's really Jayadvaita Swami, but they cheat. They don't use the academic standard. And what you are doing here, you are putting the correct title of the book, and then in the future, the scholars, they can determine which edition it is. They will just open the book and they will see, okay, this is I don't know which, I got like like back in the days, I went to krishnastore.com and I purchased this blue Bhagavatam set. This was the first one, like around 10 years ago, maybe. And then later, one devotee sold me a red Bhagavatam, original Bhagavatam set. And now Ratayatra Prabhu told me this red Bhagavatam set was done by Jitarati Prabhu. And then apparently he told me there was some disagreement. And Jitarati Prabhu gave $500,000 of these books to ISKCON, So I was like, what the heck is going on here? And today I went again on krishnastore.com and I saw now they have like a colorful 30-volume set of the original Srimad Bhagavatam on sale. So my question would be to Yasoda-nandana Prabhu to please comment on these different sets. Like back in the days, the blue one, then there was a red one that was apparently done by your brother Jitarati Prabhu, according to Ratha Yatra Das. And now they have this 30-volume colorful one. Maybe you can just, in 2-3 minutes, explain for the consumer, or the end customer who's getting these books, and also maybe for the scholars in the future. Haribol.
Okay, the story of the Srimad Bhagavatam is in 1962 in New Delhi, India. Prabhupada published the first canto, first volume of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, it's to be noted that Prabhupada did all the typing, the assembling, the copying. I don't know if the people at the press who printed this book had the, in those days, I don't know if they checked all of the spelling, everything. There has been concerns from different devotees and scholars and well-wishers that there were many spelling mistakes, but Prabhupada didn't think much of it. He just wanted to get the message out. So in 1962, the first volume of the first canto was published. In 1964, the second volume of the first canto was published. And then in 1965, before Prabhupada went to America, the third volume of the first canto was published. That's called the New Delhi Bhagavatams. This is the set of 3 volumes with brown covers. I have in my possession here in one box an original version of these books. One of them has Prabhupada's personal signature in it in ink. So, but the point is here, this was the original. But when Prabhupada came to America, he requested Hayagriva Das to edit the Srimad Bhagavatam. For those who may not know, Hayagriva was a Prabhupada disciple who had a master's degree in English, and he was teaching at Ohio University in Columbus, Ohio. And he was highly proficient in English. Prabhupada requested him to edit the Srimad Bhagavatam as well as his Bhagavad-gītā manuscript. So then in 1970 in Los Angeles, the edited version, the first edited version, some people call it the High River edition, came out. Some of it that blue cover, yellow cover, like that, with the picture of the spiritual world and Goloka Vrindavan Vaikuntha, like that. Later on, by 1976, Jayadvaita re-edited this Bhagavatam book and allegedly presented to Prabhupada for approval, and they claim it was approved. Now, I just want to point out, which has been pointed out to me, by the way, I'm not trying to criticize here, that some people have pointed out that conversation is not anywhere. There's no documented evidence of this conversation with Prabhupada, where Prabhupada just approved whatever he did. Now, this is a controversial point because there's a school of thought in ISKCON that whatever Jayadvaita did was approved by Prabhupada. But we see that in 1977 in Prabhupada's garden, when people were reading the Bhagavatam and there was some fault in some of the Sanskrit translations into English, Prabhupada pointed out there was some mistake. And as part of this discussion, Prabhupada found out that some of his books were being edited in his very personal physical presence. And Prabhupada did not like that. Prabhupada said they cannot change anything. He also mentioned the next printing again should be the original way. In other words, what Prabhupada was trying to tell the devotees is don't change my books. Don't change my original first edition books. And I know this is somewhat controversial with our friend Jita Radhi because he thinks that whatever Jayadvaita did is perfect and complete. Well, many of us do not agree. Because Prabhupada said, again, print the original way, the first edition. That is the original way. Now, the reason we are in the process of reprinting the first edition is considered a classic edition. This is the first book that Prabhupada came to America with. He preached with this book, and we're reading every day from the diaries. He was distributing this book to bookstores, selling it to different people, giving it in consignments. This is how the movement was started. The first 3 volumes. I realize it's been reprinted before. It has also gone out of print by some people. We're trying to reprint it. We're soliciting help and donations and asking anybody to give anything they can to help with this noble project. And I'm sure Vishwakarma Prabhu can speak more lengthy with this, but this is a brief synopsis of the history of these 3 different versions of the Bhagavatam, especially the first canto.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have another question. Do you know who's behind this website, krishnastore.com? Because this is like what most Prabhupada know as a supplier for original books worldwide.
Yeah,
And
this devotee is named
can you comment again on the blue edition, red edition, and now this 30-volume edition from the website krishnastore.com? How, like, is this the same as in the Veda base, or the same
No.
Bhagavatam as in the Veda base?
The 30-volume edition that was published by Vedaguya and KBI, Krishna Books, Inc., which got an original license, allegedly, from the BBT as a result of the Hamsadura litigation. They reprinted the original first edition Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, it should be mentioned that Prabhupada in 1977 made some comments that there were mistakes in the 5th canto with regard to some of distances, so some of these things hopefully can be corrected in the future. But the current available edition of the 30-volume edition has been done by KBI Vedaguya, and it's being distributed by a devotee named Madhudvisa Das, not the original sannyasi Madhudvisa in ISKCON. This is an Australian devotee who supposedly lives in Los Angeles, who has somewhere or other printed these books and distributing these books along with KBI and basically making them available. They're still available. People can order them. I know that people in America have gotten these books. And my point, I encourage every devotee to get those books because these are the first edition books that Prabhupada produced. Now, as far as the Jita Radhi edition, I don't want to start more controversy than there's already. We do have a website called HareKrishnaSociety.org, where there's been numerous articles about the book changes that have been published. People are free to believe whatever they want to believe. I don't like to interfere with people's pious belief. I like to deal with facts and evidence. And the fact is that Prabhupada did not approve of all these different changes that were made after the original first edition. What Prabhupada did approve is to do index, to do the list of verses, to have a proper compendium at the end of the books. But all of this re-editing and subsequent editing, after they did that with teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Krishna book, Nectar of Devotion, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, all these books were re-edited during Prabhupada's manifested presence, not authorized. Prabhupada did not authorize any of this. That's all I can say for the time being.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. This has clarified everything. Then I also need to get this 30 volume because I don't have it yet. And I think this is very important because now there, even like only in 10 years, there are already 3 different versions, and this can create a lot of confusion. So thank you very much for clearing it up. And I hope that if Jitarati Prabhu is listening, that he is willing to cooperate, to talk about these things instead of attacking each other. You know, we should all cooperate. This attacking each other is not leading anywhere. It's better to work together and cooperate. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.